Hey, fam, welcome back to One on One with Cut Nice 50. Today we got another banger for you. Another video review of this young lady on the channel. I can't pronounce her last name, but she does amazing work. I want to give her that, Miss Amala. Um, and I guess it's off a viral TikTok with a guy having writing a letter saying, "Dear Black woman, thank you, Black woman," whatever the case may be. We're gonna watch it together, and I watched probably 8 minutes of the video. But I want to do a live reaction, share my perception of it, and I just have to admit that I disagree with this young lady. Normally, she's on point with a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's a male or female perspective, but it's her perception coming from the life she lived and the information that she has. And maybe I'm siding with the guy who did the video because I am a male. So we look at things a lot different, but I have my own personal experience going overseas and other races, what they think of Black people and the appreciation that I get from other people. And I see his perception where it comes from. That his mom told him to, reach out to a Black woman, and it reminds me of a video I think a young white lady did maybe last year, or the year before, saying find a Black man. It's pretty much the opposite. If you're ever in trouble, reach out to a Black man, and they'll help you. I don't know if I think it was a female who did it, saying find a Black man and you're being helped. And I can see it, but I'm from down south. Um, and it's a different mentality, I guess, of different people, but it is special people out here in the world. And like skin color doesn't matter, but genuine people is genuine people. And from the video, I can claim that he meant it with his heart. You know what I mean? That's his perception. That's his truth. So why can't we do videos just saying we appreciate your truth and stuff like that instead of criticizing somebody off their own personal belief? This is what he lived. This is what he knows. And he felt that Black people or certain Black women in particular was extra nice to him and helped him or had a major impact on his lifestyle today. And he wouldn't be where he is, him and his family, without the help or assistance of some Black people. And I guess he's from Europe, so it is a different mentality. And I done been over there, and I have to say, in my experience, they love Black people. Maybe I was an athlete, whatever the case, but every country that I visited, I felt that they showed me the love that they have for African American people or Black people in general. Um, but that's just my own thoughts, man. Share your thoughts. If you seen this TikTok, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow if you're new to the channel. Just share your thoughts on this video. We can go ahead and jump right on into it. And if you've seen the TikTok, man, just let me know. Let's go.
This man on TikTok decided to post a heartfelt, sort of open letter to Black women, a tribute to Black women, if you will. And that tribute immediately backfired when Black women responded and said, this is not the way to thank us. You know what we say? Sometimes the woke eat their own. Let's talk about it. Yeah, you better.
Now, and I wouldn't myself think about him as woke. Like I said, her name is Amala. I can't pronounce the last name, but I don't think this guy was a woke by any means, or leftist. So maybe my perception of that is wrong, but share your thoughts. Let me know what you think.
Who decided to post somewhat of an open letter to Black women titled Dear Black Women. And we're going to get straight into the letter, and I'm going to see if you can guess why people are upset at what he said.
Okay, I haven't been on TikTok for a bit, and I noticed everyone was tagging me in the whole Andrew Schultz thing about Black women. I'll make a different comment about Andrew Schultz and that little rap Kosh thing, but I want to say something about Black women. And this was my mother, and I God is my witness right now. May the Lord strike me down if I'm lying. My mother told me and my siblings when we were young kids, before I remember it was when my older brother started secondary school. It was a big deal. My older brother going off to the big boy school. And my mom sat us down. She said, ever in trouble out there in the real world, look for a Black woman. My mom said this. My mom was raised in this country from the age of 6, the UK. She said, look for a Black woman. She said, anywhere in the world, Black woman. She was never wrong. She was never wrong. But it's incredible that my mother said that. And I don't know what my mom went through. But I remember seeing photos of my mom in school when she was in high school and stuff. And she had loads of Black friends and stuff. And they were all Black women. Because my mom wasn't a pick me. She only had female friends. And so she obviously felt some protection. And
I'm sorry. I was going to try to get through as much of this as I possibly could. But first of all, the piece of advice, if you're ever in trouble, look for a black woman. Imagine if you hurt yourself, you're on the ground, you're in pain. Hey, white man, no thank you. I'm specifically looking for a black woman. Can you please send a black woman my way? It's so ridiculous. And then he goes on to say, my mom was friends with black women, have a lot of black friends. We love that one. And that made her not a pick me because she's only friends with females. So if you're friends with men for some reason, that automatically makes you a pick me as a woman. But this is where we're at in today's day and age. You know, the lack.
All right, and you can see her perception right there. And I'm thinking from where he's talking about, who knows what the mom's religion was back then, but most women in some certain religions couldn't have male friends. That don't exist. Young women in that area having male friends and they're unmarried. So that's just a different perception. But who knows? He doesn't go into details about that. But I can see what his mom has told her. She had black friends, and she know. Just think about it. If I set myself personally, and maybe just me, maybe it's people who are like me. If I seen a kid in trouble and they came for me looking for help, generally we're gonna stop. I don't know about any other race. I'm just talking about for myself and probably my family and people that I know. Who's not gonna stop? You see somebody in trouble who needs help. So I thought she was probably taking that as a joke, but she wasn't. She was serious. He meant that seriously. If you put anything on God, and I'm like I say from the South, we do that sometimes. Back in the day, I don't do it now, but I'm just saying when we do say on God or we put it up, we're dead serious. We mean it by anything that's in our heart. That's how we feel. That's what we believe. But for her to say that whatever she said about his thing, it kind of goes with one ear. And you see somebody talking genuinely about it, we don't have to criticize her. I get, she's like I said, she's a reporter. She does this debate and stuff like this. But when it comes to heartfelt, somebody sharing their perception, their walk of life, what they did growing up, I don't think we can dismiss that. It happened, and that's what he believes. This is what he knows, and he said it never failed. So that's his truth. Everybody, we can be on the same world, going through the same struggles, and our perception and be different because of our experiences. Just like this young man, I commend him for even coming out there. But we live in a day and age that you can't even share your story or your own personal belief without being criticized, judged, and mocked or whatever, or laughed at. But this is just his truth. But let's go ahead and continue. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about what he said and then her reaction.
Of nuance in the conversations we have is just so apparent. Now, if you can guess already why this Dear Black Women open letter has backfired, he's already said what black women are upset about. And I don't necessarily agree with the black women on their anger towards him, but we're going to keep watching.
Growing up for me, I noticed in my school, it was a very predominantly white school. The black teachers looked after me. I had a black Jamaican teacher called Mrs. Forrester. She looked after me. But even outside of school, when I started growing out my hair, it was a black woman that taught me how to look after my curls, what products to use. It's black women that built me up on this platform and got me to where I am. I have to give credit to where credit is due. It was women in general, but black women specifically who boosted me and told me how pretty I was and how great I was. But I am trying to make a point here, and it's that black women get treated the worst. The worst. Malcolm X said this. He goes, unfortunately, they are treated the worst. By the medical field, by the education field, by the police, by everything. Yeah, they're the ones that give the most love. And for I saw what he said in that post, Andrew Schultz, and I had some comments, and it's sad, and it hurts my heart when I think of those things, because I'll tell you right now, it wasn't that long ago. my friend Jordan, who I love the most about. Jordan's got these epic Jordan's family is just.
Let's pause for just a moment. I would love some facts to substantiate what he just said about Black women being treated the worst in society, because he made some very bold claims about the medical field, about our educational institutions, and about police. Even when I was a leftist, I was under the impression that Black men were the ones that we were writing this narrative about in regard to police brutality. When did it become Black women? Fill me in on that. Okay, I'll wait.
When I was homeless and Jordan introduced me to his family,
Now,
they treated me like that.
now let me go ahead and interject. Maybe he did meant Black men on certain things when it comes to police, but as far as being mistreated in the medical field, I believe I would tell this young lady to just get with Candace Parker, look up some of the stats and stuff like that she did, her own personal experience, bringing out the stats. I think she did plenty of stories about the medical field. So maybe he basing this is off the information that's in the U.S. because the stats going to change any other country. We know when it comes to medical and stuff like that in the U.S. it's ridiculous towards other races and stuff like that. But that was the majority. It was Black and white. That's all you hear about all the time, all the horror stories. We're not going to just go down that rabbit hole when it comes to racism in the U.S. Other countries, it's a way different ball game. But I believe his views was from the U.S. because he says his mom was from here. I think he was raised from here, or his mom has been here since 6 or something like that. So this is his own personal experience. So I can get where he coming from, but he making the claims, but it's still his perception. It's all from the information that his mom gave him, how he lived his life, how he was raised in his lifestyle. So I don't see anything wrong with him coming out and saying this and making this thank you to Black women. I just don't see anything wrong with it.
I was one of them. They didn't even care. They were just like, they treat me like family. I didn't feel awkward. You know when you go up to someone's house and you just sat in the corner for a bit? It didn't feel like that. And I know not all Black people are the same. Obviously, I know that. But there's one thing that Black people universally have, and that is that beautiful smile and beautiful love that they just give out. But I'm telling you, it's a special feeling. I remember going to Jordan's once, and like I was just heartbroken. His family just like welcomed me, and they were like, "Where's the?" You know what? You know what his family said to me? They go. Oh, we've got a plate ready for you. And then Jordan's cousin just looks me up and goes, "You're still a skinny boy," and I'm just like, "Right, well, yeah, I know I'm home."
You know, it's so wonderful that he's had these amazing experiences with Black women, and I'm not going to bring down those experiences in any way, shape, or form. I'm glad that he's had these moments that have allowed him to connect with others and have allowed him to be in a space where he felt comforted and loved and didn't have any awkwardness. But I just want to emphasize the fact that it has nothing to do with being Black, and it has nothing to do with being a woman. And he says he knows that not all Black people are the same, but all Black people have this universal smile and love. Can we make that make sense? And it does sound like you're singling out a certain race as if they're somehow different than people of other races. As if
And he is. I mean, he's singling out because he's talking just about Black people in general and Black women. The experience, the family that he went over to, his friend who was Black. So, of course, he's singling out because this is his story about Black people. He didn't write a post saying, dear white woman, or whatever the case, or just thinking it, or that probably be different. But he did say not all people. So I don't get this perception. Like I say, it's his story. He's talking about his childhood, and you don't want to break that down or demean it, or I forgot the other word she said, but that's pretty much you're doing the opposite. Just in my perception, you're doing the opposite of what he's claiming. You kind of just throwing that under the bus because, as you can clearly see, he's emotional. He's talking about it and stuff like that. And as a man, maybe he's an emotional guy, but most men ain't that emotional that you're talking about it. So you can see the joy in what he feels in his heart coming out. Maybe he's a good actor, who knows? But I'm just saying perception shows that he experienced this and he has nothing but love towards it. So maybe I don't know what woke means no more. You know, I'm a little older, maybe probably me and his mom was around the same age or whatever the case. So I can see where they're coming from, especially if you was down south. We're going to welcome you to our home and treat you like family. We're not treating you like a stranger or stuff like that. But I think that's generally known in Black culture. You come in our house, we're gonna treat you like family. We're not treating you like a stranger or whatever else. You didn't have to be on tiptoes. You can kind of relax and be yourself. Yeah, I thought that was a well-known thing. Every race is not the same. Everybody got different characteristics. Yes, being nice, good, and evil, stuff like that. We all have that same thing. But I think based on where you're raised, what geological area that you're based in, down south, up north, Midwest, East Coast, West Coast, it kind of plays into some of your characteristics of how you treat. I remember going up north, and generally people don't speak like going down south. Everybody, hey, how you doing? Stuff like that. That's just general information that we know. Maybe the younger generation, I know she's probably in the younger generation, they don't do that. But my generation coming up, when you come down south, everybody's gonna welcome you with open arms. They're gonna speak to you, hey, how you doing? And you hear that from people who come from up north and then they move down south, how welcoming and greeting that people are. And it don't matter necessarily your skin color when it comes to stuff like that, but that's when they're coming into play. People down south were genuinely more talkative. Hey, how you doing? More welcoming, stuff like that. And you go up north, generally, from my own personal experience, people is a little more tight. They're not coming out speaking to you. You staring at somebody too long. People normally used to, look at you funny because they think something is wrong. Or they was more, the perception was more aggressive. I had friends from up north and they used to say it all the time, man, we come down here, down south, it's a whole different ballgame. People are more friendly, but they wasn't used to doing it because you're coming from a big city to smaller cities or more country than the rural or urban area. So that's just my own perception, man. But share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Is he on point or is she correct in her views towards him?
Somehow have more love, more comforts to share with you and the world. And I would really challenge you to challenge that belief that you seem to have about people of other races in your pedestalization of Black women. Again, it's amazing that he's had these wonderful experiences with Black women, and I'm not going to take that away from him by any means. I just want him to understand the sort of racial narrative that he's painting as he's talking about these experiences.
Well, what kind of racial narrative is he doing? And he's just talking specifically about the Black people and the impact they had on his life. What they got to do with any other race is anybody else. It's just his story. That's my only thing. I get the report in the journalism. If he was a famous person or he was, doing whatever else, this is one of the reasons that I don't like social media too much, because they can take somebody's, personal story like this and blow it all out of proportion, see the negative into it instead of just the light. I don't know. Maybe it was a lot of comments saying, okay, well, we're glad you have that. We're glad you have that appreciation of Black people or these Black women or the people who just help you in general. But he's specifically talking about a specific group of people who was in his life for whatever reason.
Let's continue.
No, I can't sit and not make a comment on this because no, and I know I made a post like months ago about Black men, but yeah. And go look through history. Go look at what Nina Simone did. Go look at what Doreen Lawrence, Stephen Lawrence's mother did. Go look at what Betty Shabazz did. Like, these people are just incredible. And we don't give credit where credit is due. We really don't. And I think nowadays we're living in this world where if someone's pretty, we give them credit. Credit for what? They were just born beautiful, but like we don't look at the person's soul. We don't look at we don't look at what people can attribute to life. If we did, we would give Mary C. Cole a huge statue. So that's my 2 cents, and I hope just thank you. And yeah, thank you to the specific thank you to the Jamaican community, because there was this Jamaican woman who helped my grandma, and that's a different story. And just Black women in general, thank you for everything you've done for me, for everything you've done for my family, and for everything you've done for our people. My people wouldn't have survived in the UK for Black people standing up for us, coming to the protest for us, protesting with the bus rallies for us. I know my history. Thank you.
That last line that he ends with, I think, is really at the heart of this letter to Black women. I think more so than wanting to give a tribute to Black women, which is already a very strange thing to do, he wanted to show how connected he is to Blackness, how much he knows Black history, and he knows his people's history, and he knows how much Black women have played a part in his history. It is pandering, but it's also virtue signaling. Although we'll never get an admission that that is exactly what's happening, he's just saying he wants to give credit where credit is due. I will go ahead and give a little note here. There are a lot of people all throughout history that have done tremendous, amazing things. We will never hear their names. We will never know what they've done. And they receive no credit. Oftentimes, people who are doing the right thing don't do the right thing to receive credit and don't do the right thing with the expectation of credit. And it's nice that you're trying to lift people up and shout out certain names and give people respect where you feel like the respect is due, but something comes off as a little weird. There are some specific statements in this video that just sort of rub me the wrong way.
And that's what I get to. Some statements rub her the wrong way, but I took everything he said as correct. I don't see no issue with nothing he said in there. Maybe because you think he's singling out a specific race of people, but he's talking about his own personal experience. That's why I said it's amazing we can live in the same world, different experience, different ages, stuff like that, and we see things totally different. She totally disagrees with him and thinks he's pandering towards Black people or having racial undertones or saying that he's connected to Black people. And he is connected. He knows his history and knows that his family history made it in the UK with the help of Black people. So what's wrong with saying that? I don't get anything wrong. She has a major platform in Somalia. Amazing. She does amazing work. But I think she's wrong on this one. Just off somebody's own personal experience and the life that they live and showing appreciation to Black people and the Black women that helped him survive and impact his life probably for the better. The love you see in his face showing towards those group of people. And just letting you know, he just added to the story that even his grandmother, the shout out to Jamaicans, that's just like we give shout outs to my man Mike around the corner, shout outs, whatever the case may be. That's not just because it's one person. Yeah, one person can make the difference, but that's just my own perception. And maybe I'm old, maybe I see things a little bit more differently, but that's just me, man. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think.
Talks about shouting out Jamaican culture and the Jamaican community because one Jamaican woman at one point helped him in his life. And it shows that your worldview is kind of skewed. You think of all the nice people who have done wonderful things for your life and doled out your appreciation to those individuals. I don't know what being Black or a woman or Jamaican has to do with the equation. And by your own logic, if you have problems with people
what happened, he's not talking about everybody that helped him in his life. He's talking to these specific people. So I don't get it.
Generalizations about an entire group of people or an entire race. Why would you, on the other end, make hasty generalizations about an entire group of people of a certain race? Because for every example that you can give of a fantastic Black woman, another person could give an example of a Black woman that embodies of those traits, which is why we don't attribute these traits to their Blackness or to their womanhood. We talk about people as individuals with their own moral compass and values. And he makes a side comment about not praising people for being pretty, for they were simply born that way. They didn't have any choice in the matter. Meanwhile, Black women were simply born that way. They didn't have any choice in the matter. But we do make choices every day in regard to how we treat people, but that has nothing to do with our race and our sex. So maybe we should keep the race and the sex out of the conversation. But despite all these criticisms that I have over his initial video, it seems as though some Black women have a whole different type of backlash that they're throwing at this man. Let's get into it.
So I just saw this video with this guy saying that his mother told him if he's ever in trouble, go find a Black woman. All right, so let's unpack that for a second. Black women have been carrying the weight of society for far too long. We're not here to just be a safety net or to go-to for everyone else's problem. Black women have spearheaded movements that have changed the world. From the abolition movement in the 19th century to women's suffrage to the civil rights movement in the 1960s. Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to share a little bit of that right now and just share my thoughts on that. But man, I just hate that we live in a world today that you can't even share your own personal experience online without any negative comments. The first thing we do is go to negative. We try to break down videos. We try to break down different perceptions. We try to um, insinuate that somebody is saying whatever instead of taking their words for value. He's saying specific things for a specific reason. But we want to say, well, maybe he's whatever the case may be, we spin it to our own narrative based on our own personal experience, perceptions, and education, whatever the case may be. But we're not taking their words, exactly what he said. Those black people, it's still his life, it's his reality. He walked in his shoes. If we walked in his shoes, maybe you'll feel the same way. Who knows? You know, we all have our own different perceptions in life. We're all different. We're all unique. We all have our own personal experience, beliefs, and morals. But I myself, I'm never going to put nobody down and say, you know, this or that, or that they have undertones or whatever the case. Their reality is their reality. Where's the love and appreciation that we show towards other people who are boldly enough to share their appreciation? We know social media, of course, you're going to have a lot of negative. You're going to have a lot of trolls. You're going to have a lot of people. And I guess it makes good content out there for people like this young lady right here. It makes amazing content. But, you know, you got to get it out there and stuff like that. But instead of trying to analyze and break it down, let's sometimes just sit back and take what other people say for face value. Now, maybe if he's a scammer, he does this before, but clearly in his videos, he said he did a video a couple months ago about black men. So I'm pretty much sure, because it looked like he's a positive guy. He's a loving guy. He shows a lot of emotion. If he's doing these videos, that he has a lot of love for black people or people in general also, because I don't see it that he'll be that way towards one specific group and not all people. That's all I'm trying to say. Yes, he's just showing thanks and showing his appreciation for specific people in these videos, but in real life and day-to-day life, you just don't change that actors. If you're a good person in real life, you're a good person, whatever else. I believe people are who they show, you know, just like, you know, I got people who are debaters and stuff like that. I myself, I'm from down south. I talk with a slur from time to time. That's just me. I talk with a country accent. I mix up words from here and there. I'm not perfect. I'm not an English teacher, but some people will correct your grammar and stuff like that. It's just how I was raised. I'm old school. And you can say, I mean, maybe it is other words that I can use, but I don't take it, you know, you can correct it, whatever else, but I take it for face value. You know, we're not professors. We're not getting graded on these things. It's just our perceptions, our thoughts. And that's what makes us all unique instead of criticizing and breaking down people, even without trying. Maybe his video didn't get more traction, but maybe other people like herself who got 2 million followers, they see this breakdown in this video. Now they see her pretty much getting on them, not in a nicer way than these other young ladies who made that comment that I stopped showing the video at the end, who dug in on them and saying instead of showing the thanks for black people, do more for black women. That's what they're trying to say. But nobody knows what this guy actually does for other people out there. We're just making assumptions or whatever else. I'm not making no assumptions. I'm just saying, generally, if you see somebody saying thanks for whatever else, they got to have a good spirit, a good heart, something behind it, and you can see the emotion in his face. Some things is hard to fake. You can't fake it unless he's an Emmy-nominated actor out there. Why would he put himself? You know, some people are on social media for fame, fortune, whatever the case. But that's a different monster right there. That's just sometimes just take it for what it is. It's a feel-good moment. He meant it genuinely, but with a good heart, in my perception. But I don't know anything about him too much like that besides what she posted in this video. But I had to do a reaction on it. I was just watching it because I like this young lady. I just wanted to see what she was talking about. And they should say leftist, but he don't come off as a leftist to me. Or maybe my perception with that is gone because I know woke done changed. I thought woke was because we used to use that when you are a free thinking person. Now it's unchanged. The culture unchanged the last couple of years to the feminine movement and all this other stuff. When you see with Marvel and they done changed up the beliefs. Well, I'm old school. The old way of thinking with woke meaning now you're a free thinker. You don't believe everything you hear. You don't trust the government with everything they tell you to do. You start making your own decision based off your own personal knowledge and your own intuition. But that's me. Share your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Just had some fruit, but I got a dry mouth right now. I'm gonna go ahead and knock down these super reds, and get back to work. With that, y'all have a good day. Stay safe. We out.